Intros for Paul Thomas Anderson are a lot harder than they were for Chris Nolan. Because for Christopher Nolan, I could just like talk about a genre because all of his movies are genre. But for all of the Paul Thomas Anderson movies, I'm just like, what do you think about coincidences and fate? It's a lot more. It's a lot tougher for me to like have something fun for us to vamp about for the first couple seconds,
Well, this movie in particular with his intro, that coincidence opening.
Yeah. Well, I mean, welcome to Film School Dropouts, a movie podcast in which each season we cover a director's full filmography. As long as it isn't Roland Emmerich, I'm canceling him. He's off the list.
He's gone.
I'm cutting him out. We're not doing Roland Emmerich. Just letting you know.
Put the line through his name real quick.
This season, we're talking about Paul Thomas Anderson, and today's episode is on Magnolia. My name is James, and I'm here with Quiz Kid Brenty Lark. Brent, what is the capital of Peru?
Beijing.
No, unfortunately. And you know what? It looks like you pissed your pants a little bit there, too. You got a little worked up, huh?
Well, I got nervous.
All right. Well, anyways. So we are talking about Magnolia today. I'm very curious to hear Brent's thoughts because I know this is his first time seeing the movie. Am I correct?
It is the first time.
And we will definitely get into that because I honestly have no fucking clue what you would have made of this movie. You surprise me sometimes with your takes. This one is a weird one, so I don't know what you're thinking. But before we do that, little movies.
See anything that made you excited? Or
oh yeah. Yeah, actually, so here's the problem with me this week is usually we use this little movie segment where we talk about one movie we've seen recently just to give a little highlight to something else. We usually use this to cover directors who we probably would never cover.
Good use of time.
Yeah, maybe we cover people who don't have a very interesting filmography or maybe only made one movie, stuff like
one
that.
Or two, something.
Exactly. The problem is all of the movies I watched in the last week were like auteur masterpieces. So like I'm going to have to talk about something that we're probably going to cover one day if we do this podcast for long enough.
I think we're eventually going to hit that little section anyway where we're going to, so lay it on me.
Yeah. So I picked the one movie I watched that'll probably take us the longest to get to just because I might have to I don't know. This is going to be a weird one if we ever cover her filmography, but I watched The Piano by Jane Campion, 1993 movie with Holly Hunter, Harvey Keitel, Sam Neill, and Anna Paquin.
I think I saw this. Wasn't Anna Paquin she was really young.
She was 10 years old and she won an Oscar for the movie.
Yeah.
Her and Holly Hunter both won Oscars for it. Yeah. But I don't know. It's a period piece set in New Zealand and it's about a mute woman who has a piano and her and Harvey Keitel have like a love affair because they're both into the piano. It's really sexy. It's kind of tragic. I really liked it. It's it's a really good movie that we might actually dive into at one point if I ever force us to do Jane Campion.
I've seen this movie. I
really?
Remember it. Yeah.
Do you remember liking it or anything?
I think when it came out, like maybe this is like a 1994 rental from Blockbuster.
93.
Well, I'm saying like I might have saw
the next year.
Yeah, right. Wow. But yeah, I think I was super young, so of course I probably didn't like it. It's on the slow side.
It's a little slow. It's incredibly horny though. There is a lot of sex in the movie.
Well, you said Harvey Keitel. I'm expecting
he gets that whole dick right out. You know he does. He can't help himself. He's got to get it out.
Yeah, Harvey Keitel. He slaps.
He slaps his dick right on the table and he says, "Play a song for me, Holly Hunter." I do love him, but yeah, it was a great movie that we might cover someday. But
are you becoming a bit of a 90s fan?
I mean, I was born in I like the 90s.
I feel like you kind of view them as a little dated, a little.
No, not at all. No. Okay. I don't view anything as dated unless it is dated. But no, I mean, yeah, I was born in the 90s. I have a lot of love for the 90s, of course.
Well, I went to the theaters because now I got the dose.
You went to the movies?
Yeah, I got my second dose, and I was I got.
So what'd you see? I'm so excited for you.
I was very excited. But I didn't get to see the one I wanted to see. I wanted to see Quiet Place 2, and I settled for the newest Conjuring. The Devil Made Me Do It.
Did he make you do it, though?
He didn't make me do it.
Did the devil make you go see The Conjuring? The Devil Made Me Do It?
Patrick Wilson, who plays Ed Warren.
I love him to death.
Yeah, Patrick Wilson can do no wrong. He's great.
He's great. He's wonderful.
I'm thinking this might be the last time for those two in this role because it's run its course, and the movie itself takes place in the 80s, and they're like supposed to be older. I just, I can't.
I'm not very. Have you seen all the Conjuring movies? Because there's like 17.
I have.
You've seen everyone, like The Nun?
I saw The Nun.
Oh my goodness.
I saw Annabelle 1 and 2.
Did you see When Annabelle Came Home?
Is there 3 Annabelles?
No clue. I think there's like Annabelle Returns, and then Annabelle Comes Home.
Okay, I might not have seen, if there's a third Annabelle, I didn't see the third.
I actually
Annabelle.
have no idea if there's a movie called Annabelle Comes Home, but I feel like there is.
It sounds like a title.
Are there 2 nuns?
No, there's just one nun.
Just the one nun, not the horny nun. We're waiting on that one, but
that one's coming out.
That one's coming. So The Conjuring. Yeah, I've seen the first one. I think it's an absolute masterpiece of horror. I love the first Conjuring movie.
First Conjuring is, to me, it is the best one. And they kind of go down in there.
I will say, though, and I'm not going to see The Conjuring 3 because, like I said, I haven't seen part 2, nor have I seen the 6 different spinoffs. But I will say, The Devil Made Me Do It is a fucking banger of a subtitle. Most movies, they come out with a sequel. The title is like, I would expect it to be like The Conjuring, Ghost Rising, or something like that. just like some generic bullshit.
Insidious for the Skeleton Key.
Oh, that one's not bad, though.
Okay.
That one's not terrible. I'm just saying, like most, I feel like Pacific Rim Uprising. Like, it means nothing. You just like put a word, ascending, whatever. But I do love the title, The Devil Made Me Do It. Fucking metal.
And that's what I'm not going to get into too much, but the plot basically deals with the 1981 case where they tried to use the devil as the cause of this grisly murder. And yeah, they basically, because, you swear on the Bible every time you...
So it's like in court. Oh, is it? It sounds really good.
Court case, I know you love some court case dramas.
You put me in a courtroom and my knees go weak.
It's not. I want to temper your expectations. Okay. It's not truly but there is the backdrop of that.
I gotta say that would be a cool move, but of course.
Just for me, like for these movies, like the James Wan, a lot of them heavily rely on the jump scares, which is fine. But
true. Yeah.
Here they were kind of telegraphed. A little too much. I don't know. It's just I'll applaud Ed and Lorraine Warren. I love those characters. But
I think that's a really cool thing that he did with The Conjuring. At least the first one, like I said, you don't get many horror franchises where the main character is like the human couple. Like most franchises, the main character is like the killer, and he kills all the characters. And then the next movie he goes and he kills a bunch of different characters. It is cool that this franchise is about like a couple who like go through.
The real life couple too.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Pretty sweet. But not a great movie, huh?
I'm going to withhold my rating right now, but
sure.
I will say it was the experience that I loved.
How many people were in the theater?
That's a good question. It was about, I'd say 30% full.
Was it kind of hype? Like were people doing like, screaming and stuff?
No, it was actually very respectful. I was surprised.
No, I mean like were people like into the movie, like yelling and like getting scared and stuff?
No, that's how I know it kind of under-delivered.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of times you do get that rowdy atmosphere where people are like, oh, no, but it's just kind of just going through the motions with it.
That bums me out, but oh well.
I kind of was expecting it.
Yeah. I mean, with the third entry in a horror franchise, it's like, all right, and it's not, I think Juan directed the first 2 movies, but that's it. So
I think he was a writer on this one. Yeah, like he still has his fingerprints involved.
Yeah,
and I will say this: coming off The Nun, it was trending. It was
way better than The Nun.
Far better than The Nun. So trending up for the franchise.
That's a relief. Yeah, good.
I'll take that.
Okay, well, are you ready to? I don't know. Are you ready to like? There's nothing I can say about this one. It's just a drama, Here we go.
It is a lot.
Let's talk Magnolia.
Okay, let's do it.
There are stories of coincidence and chance and intersections and strange things told, and which is which and who only knows. And we generally say, well, if that was in a movie, I wouldn't believe it.
I'm Stanley Spector.
I'm Frank T.J. Mackey.
I'm Jimmy Gator.
I'm Phil Parma.
I'm Dixon.
I'm Priska Dunny Smith.
I'm Linda Partridge.
I'm Earl Partridge.
I'm Officer Jim Curring.
I'm Claudia Wilson Gator.
These strange things happen all the time.
I'm gonna do a little bit of a callback to our episodes in Nolan, the Nolan episodes. We kind of stopped doing this season. We should probably keep doing it because it's good. But I want to talk about the first time I saw Magnolia.
Okay.
Because we haven't really done that this season.
Well, I will be doing that today.
Because this is the first time. But this is not the first time. I've seen this movie this is probably my third time seeing it.
Okay. Long movie.
Very long. Moves like a freight train, though. So, okay. My first time seeing this movie was under stressful circumstances for me. I had just been cheated on and dumped. So I was depressed. And I watched this movie. Had never seen it before. And it felt like the most cathartic, like just me openly weeping, like on a couch to this 3-hour-long movie about people who are just constantly like crying and stuff. So the movie like worked for me like so hard the first time I saw it, just because of the sort of emotional like experience of watching it.
It's definitely heavy themes.
Yeah, very heavy. And then, finally I ended up going back to it and watching it with a clearer head. And worked just as fucking well for me. Like, I think I'm very curious to hear what you have to say. I will say I'm ready to defend this movie to the death, but it's purely based on like my visceral relationship to this movie and not based off of any of the text inside the movie. So with that being said, Brent, first reaction to Magnolia.
Yeah, this is my first time watching it.
Can I ask you a question first?
Sure.
I want to ask this and then just take it away, talk about it for a minute. But what did you know about this movie going into it?
What did I know? I remember watching, because I watch the Oscars every year, and I remember seeing it nominated for a few. Yep. I remember seeing Tom Cruise up there didn't he get a nom for this?
He did.
And I remember, like, because growing up, it's Tom Cruise. As big as name as it gets. And then you kind of see
90s,
him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like
it's him in
the 90s.
It's him, Hanks, and Will Smith. It's
absolutely.
They are the 90s.
And a little bit Denzel too. You can pepper some Denzel in there.
Oh, I was going to sprinkle some Williams in there.
Julia Roberts. There's plenty of people who own
Jim
the 90s.
Carrey. All right.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Sure. But Tom Cruise was sort of. Well, no. Talk about the movie.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to go on a whole Tom Cruise rant.
Right.
So
I have nothing against Tom Cruise. I think he's a pretty great actor. Okay. I especially love that he loves movies. Yeah. So you can tell he like really goes for it here. Mm-hmm. But no, when I was watching, I was like, oh, good for him. When
you're watching the Oscars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like I've told you before, I've tried to put this on a few times, but I will put it on like as I'm going to bed, and I just because I know it's heavy and it's long, I know it's going to be like, even now as I'm trying to review it and rate it, I feel like there's so much to digest with this movie that my rating or my reviews for it might change with later. Time. Yeah, a little bit. But going off my gut instinct, I think there's parts that are just, it's like perfect filmmaking. It's what Paul Thomas Anderson does. He makes these, oh my God, let's talk about the cast. Like how many?
Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about the cast. We'll get to your rating and like maybe you can sum it up for me, but
yeah, we'll do more breakdown. I'll continue as we go because
so Magnolia comes out in 1999. It's Paul Thomas Anderson's third movie. It is a massive ensemble 3-hour kind of opera, basically. That's kind of how I view this movie. It's like a Greek chorus opera. But you've got Tom Cruise, Jason Robards in one of his, like, I think this is his last performance. He might have had one movie after this, but like Jason Robards going out, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Philip Baker Hall coming back again. All of these Paul Thomas Anderson mainstays, Julianne Moore, William H. Macy. Oh God. Melora Walters. Fucking who
was
else?
That? Was it
John
Huffman?
C. Reilly's back.
John C. Reilly.
Yeah, Felicity Huffman's in the. Yeah, she's in this. Clark Gregg
was the cameraman. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, there he is. He looks the exact same. I'm actually convinced Clark Gregg is an android and has never aged. He looks
an LMD life decoy model.
Yes, exactly.
Life model decoy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just a completely stacked cast. And then, like right in the beginning, you got Patton Oswalt as like part of the prelude. Like it just kind of goes on and on.
Oh yeah, he was that
great.
Yeah,
it is sort of this big sweeping ensemble piece that connects 5 or 6 different storylines together, either directly or indirectly, and takes place in, once again, like right outside of Los Angeles over the course of one day.
There's a lot of things that really worked. Like first and foremost, you don't get bad acting in his movies.
Okay, so this is a good jumping off point.
Okay.
You famously in our friendship, big Julianne Moore antagonist. You don't like her.
No, I don't.
You don't like Julianne Moore.
No.
It's weird to me.
She's trending up. I got to be clear about that. I never have liked her, but
have you just not seen a ton of Julianne Moore? Is that the thing?
No, it's the things I've seen with her. I haven't
really
liked her in it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But like, okay, do you like her in Magnolia?
I think her acting is great. I think but here's the thing with his movies. He is able to make me hate so many of these characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like not a lot of directors. Like we're gonna get into one of the characters, the little boy. So
Stanley.
There's Stanley.
Okay.
His dad may be the most deplorable human that I've ever seen.
This movie is, I mean, absolutely, I agree. I was watching this with Jessica yesterday and my girlfriend, and she was like, "Oh man, the dad in this is such a piece of shit to Stanley." And I was like, "Oh, is he? I don't remember him being like that shitty." Because like it starts out like he's sort of like a maybe a little bit of an emotionally detached dad. Like he's kind of rushing his son along. But I'm like, I don't think he's that shitty. I think he's just kind of like there. And then as time goes on, you're like, oh no, this guy's a fucking egomaniac. He's a psychopath.
He was so.
But you're right. I mean, coming back to it, like you're right. Like Paul Thomas Anderson, I've said it, pretty much every episode this season so far. His fucking characters are all extremely flawed. I think one of the, I don't know, masterstrokes of Paul Thomas Anderson is he's able to make you like really engage with these incredibly flawed characters. And like, instead of being disgusting, just disgusted with them, he makes you like lean in and be like, okay, you're really fucking up, but I really want to know why. Like you actually want to connect with these characters and like figure out what the hell is going on with them instead of just being like, oh, fuck them. Like this movie sucks. It's a lot more nuanced than just like they're bad.
I said this with Kenneth Branagh's character in Tenet. He was almost too cartoonishy, villainous.
Absolutely.
I got that not only from the dad, but like Felicity Huffman's character. Like clearly she knows the kid has had to go to the bathroom. Subplot, he's had to go to the bathroom. He doesn't get to go. She doesn't let him go. And he pees while they're filming this quiz show. Live on TV.
I was screaming at the TV. I was just like, let the fucking kid pee. Like, I was so mad. Especially since, like, the kid in this movie is such a damn sweetheart. He's such a cute little kid. And you just want the best for him. He's just trying to do his best. And, yeah, it's tough to watch. I will admit.
This is what set me over. I screamed at my television when the dad goes and say, "Oh, what's wrong with Stanley?" And then Felicity Huffman's character, he's been telling that he's had to go to the bathroom this whole time. She has the nerve to say, "I don't know."
Oh, it's infuriating. Yeah.
Yes, you do. You satanic monster.
Get her.
That is not that. See, I was like, "Are you kidding?" Like. Yeah. Oh, that drove me.
So anyways, looping all the way back around to what I was talking about earlier, Julianne Moore in this movie. I have, since I've known you, been a staunch defender of Julianne Moore. I really don't like her in this movie. This is the one time, and I've always felt this way. It's just been a couple years since I saw it, and I was like, oh man, I think this is the one time I don't really like Julianne Moore. And I was wondering if that was going to hold up, and it totally does. I think there are a couple scenes which she's great in because she's a fucking pro, but
the pharmacy
scene is a lot.
What exactly you have wrong? You need all this stuff.
Motherfucker.
What?
Motherfucker. You
what are you talking
fucking
about?
asshole. Who the
look,
fuck
lady,
do you think you are?
I
come in here. You don't know me. You don't know who I am, what my life is, and you have the balls, the decency to ask me a question about my life?
Yes, lady, what?
Fuck you too! Don't you call me lady! I come in here, I give these things to you. You check, you make your phone calls, look suspicious, ask questions. I'm sick! I have sickness all around me, and you fucking ask me my life? What's wrong? I'm using death in your bed, in your house. Where's your fucking decency? And then I'm asked fucking questions. What's wrong? You suck my dick. That's what's wrong. And you fucking call me lady? Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on both of you.
She walks up to this line where I'm like, Julianne, you're kind of overselling it. Like, ooh, you might be doing too much. And then she looks me dead in the eyes and she leaps 40 feet over the line and she sells it way too hard. And then she does it again later where she's like confessing to her lawyer.
Yeah.
And she says, like, I've sucked men's cocks. And she like goes to this low register while she's weeping. I'm like, okay, Julianne, you gotta pull it back a little bit, honey. It's too much for me.
She delivers this line where she's like, fuck you. Like she puts like a happy spin on it.
I don't mind when she's doing that. It's just there's a couple times when she goes so
that
far.
Scene was infuriating me because she goes to the lawyer because she has this breakdown and she's telling him all this.
Yeah.
And he basically tells her what she needs to do if that's how she's feeling. And she just can't accept this information and like storms out. Like what?
You actually texted me like from your notes. Your first note was like Julianne Moore is a super villain in this movie.
Yeah.
Is that do you hold true to that? You're like she's terrible.
Well, no, you did see some character growth. Like you see her show remorse for her actions. That gives her a human quality, which she desperately needed at that point.
Yes.
She's sitting there talking early in the movie. If she gets this liquid morphine, basically a kill pill.
The doctor says like if you give. You know what? Let's talk about here. We'll jot this down. I'm gonna put a pin in this and we'll come back to it.
Okay.
Because I want to
try to keep up with this plot.
No, not even because this movie doesn't really have a plot. It's just like a bunch of characters
intersecting.
Yeah. So I want to really quickly just lay out all of the main running storylines so that we can get them out on the table now, and then we can refer to them throughout the episode instead of us skipping over anything.
Good call. Instead of
so. And while we're doing this little intro to all of the characters, because good God, there are a lot of them, maybe we can make little pit stops along the way and talk about the actors or whatever.
Sure.
So first one I want to talk about. Actually, let's talk about the prelude. Let's talk about
So this was a different beginning from what he's been doing. This is a longer movie, much bigger. The budget is significantly higher.
I would imagine. The thing about Magnolia, compared to his first two movies, because you've got Hard Eight, tiny little budget, little movie, doesn't make much, and we've talked about how the studios sort of took that away from him, and then he comes back with Boogie Nights. We didn't really talk about this on the Boogie Nights episode, and there are a couple things I want to just swing back to talk about that we sort of missed. But in Boogie Nights, he has this script that everyone is losing their damn minds over. Everyone wants it, so he's sort of the hot kid in town. He gets to make what he wants, but he's still sort of an untested director. So he has all these ideas for Boogie Nights. I want to make it 3 hours long. It needs to be NC-17. So he has all these ideas, and of course, at the end of the day, that's not what happens. You know what I mean? He makes a 2.5 hour movie that's rated R. Oh well, you know what I mean?
Right.
So with Magnolia, Boogie Nights is a big success, gets Oscar nominations, makes decent money, everyone loves it. Magnolia, he's given final cut. That's the sort of key to this movie is the studio gives him
the perk.
Yes,
he's earned final cut.
He's earned it, right? So the studio's like, all right, you make your 3 hour fucking movie, dude. Do what you want to do. But yes, so this movie starts out a little bit differently than the other two.
That's some studio faith for you right there.
I mean,
just giving him the keys of the kingdom in his third movie, basically.
Especially when I'm sure the script to this fucking movie is 700 pages long. And,
oh, sure.
You know what I mean? It's got to be a scary proposition for any studio to look at this kid after two movies, and be like, okay, you get final cut on this 3 hour long, sweeping movie. Go ahead, kid. Let's see what you do. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
But the beginning of this movie is a triptych of stories that all have to do with how things are coincidental. And sometimes they maybe seem, how do I put this? There are three stories about things that happen that are almost like fables, they're kind of like legends.
They're like, how did this happen type thing. The first one is a guy lives in a town and he's killed by just three people with the same last name.
He lives in Greenberry Hill, and the name of his murderers are all Greenberry and Hill.
In Hill, right.
It's crazy. Yeah, so you're like, okay, that's weird. And then the second one is Patton Oswalt is a scuba diver who does casino work. He deals cards on the weekend or whatever, and he's scuba diving in a lake. A firefighting plane comes down, scoops up the water in the lake, and deposits it over a nearby forest fire in which his dead body is stuck in a tree. And then you find out later that the pilot of that plane lost a bunch of money at the table that Patton Oswalt was dealing at earlier, and he ends up killing himself because it's what a crazy coincidence,
Yeah.
And the third one, which is my favorite, is the Sidney Behringer tale of the kid who jumps off the building and gets shot by his mom.
Oh, jeez.
This is the longest of the three. I could watch a whole movie just about this story. I was enraptured.
Yeah, he jumps off the roof to commit suicide. On his way down, he gets shot with a shotgun through
By
the
his
window
mother.
by his mother.
And then at the bottom of the building, what is there?
Oh, there's a net to where he would have been
He would
saved.
have lived.
Yeah.
He would have lived.
Oh my goodness.
Pretty crazy.
A lot of these, I think even I don't want to spoil it yet, but the climax was based off true events. There's a lot of, like, he grabbed from crazy stories.
Yeah, I didn't look too much into it, but I do think that the 3 stories in the beginning are at the very least like based on like true events, which is the Sidney Behringer one is crazy to think that might have happened. It's just such an insane thing.
I feel
the other
like
2 I can sort of believe. They're kind of but that one's insane.
Just we've been on this planet for how long? True. I feel like everything's no, you've seen it all.
That's true. You got a good point. But he introduces, and Ricky Jay, the magician, is narrating this whole portion, and he introduces this sort of theme that he's going to explore, which is like all of these things in life sort of can brush up against each other in ways that you don't expect.
So he opens up after you get those 3 stories. You open up to Magnolia and the title card, and it's the flower of a magnolia opening. Mm-hmm. And then if you look at the cover art for this movie, you see each kind of character or subplot
like a petal.
In a petal.
Yeah.
Basically describing that it's all part of the same flower.
Right.
So
and at the end of the movie, they all end up on Magnolia Avenue. So like it all kind of, it's all part of one thing. But he kind of tees you up. Spoiler alert, he tees you up in this beginning for something that doesn't happen at the end, which I like a lot. That the 3 stories in the beginning all make sense at the end of the story. And the thing that brings everything together makes sense. I like that the end of the actual movie that he's giving you, the ending is like so biblical that it's like, what? That doesn't have anything to do with anything. Like, it's out of left field.
Are you talking about the Frog Ex Machina?
Yeah, yes, I'm talking about Frog Ex Machina. Toad Ex Machina.
Yeah. I was watching. I was like, is this actually Frog Ex Machina?
Yes, it is. So that's your intro. And now let's talk about all of the actual characters in the movie.
All right, let's first talk about John C. Reilly's character, because this is his number 3 for him.
3 for 3, John C. Reilly.
This is Paul Thomas Anderson's boy at this point. This is my favorite of the 3 of his 3 performances so far.
Easily. Fucking easily.
Loved him as a cop.
He's so good in this. Yes, go on.
Then I took a little turn, but I went back and forth because he's a cop, right? Cops,
not a great thing to be right now,
right? But the whole
mom.
Yeah, the whole first 2 exchanges with his.
Anyways,
it's not.
Go ahead.
No, so anyway, tell me about that first exchange with Marcy.
Okay, so John C. Reilly is the first character we're talking about. He's a cop named Jim. He's a fucking absolute sweetie pie. He's a single, I think divorced or widowed. I'm not sure which one it was. But yeah,
I think divorced. I think wasn't he married for 3 years or something?
Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, they don't really talk about like his ex-wife, but he's this like just do-gooder. He has like this good in his heart. He keeps talking about how every time he gets a call, it's a bad thing. If the best thing he can do is, help somebody out, then it's a good day for him to be a cop. He's so earnest in this movie. And then his first call is to a woman's house where there's a disturbance.
Slow down. Ma'am, door was open, ma'am.
Yeah,
I got a call.
You're not allowed to just
calm down.
Calm down. Calm.
Okay, I got a call to this apartment. Report of a disturbance.
There's no disturbance.
Okay, I got a call of a disturbance. Your door was open, and I just want to see what's going on.
Yeah, but there's no disturbance.
Okay, well then you got nothing to worry about.
You don't tell me. I know my rights. Just come right in. You can't just.
All right, ma'am, you want to test me? All right, you want to tell me about the law book? We can do that. You push me far enough, I will take you to jail. Okay? Now calm yourself down.
I am calm.
No, you are not calm. You're screaming at me. You understand? Now I get a call of a disturbance and I'm going to check it out. That is what I'm going to do.
And he comes right in, the door's open.
Now, this is probably a good time to talk about maybe Paul Thomas Anderson's weak point, which is kind of just makes movies about white people. And it's not great that the only black people in this movie are depicted in a really negative way and then discarded to never be seen from or heard from again. But he gets a call about a disturbance. There's this woman named Marcy who's just screaming her head off, right? Like, and
it was really tough to watch the scene in today's climate.
Yeah, at first it's not, because he's got like his hand out, like a gentle hand saying like, hey, calm down, I'm just here to like and then like as he starts to escalate too, you're like, oh god. And then he like, yells at her to sit down in the chair, and then he puts handcuffs on her too. It's a little, she is being quite belligerent, like, there is that, but yeah, it is hard to watch in today's climate where,
well, and then not only that, but the very next scene he basically gets a very similar, if not identical, call. Granted, the door wasn't open, for a young white lady. Also, granted, you can make a case for it's love at first sight, art, or something like that. So his mind's a little foggy.
Yeah.
But he treats her polar opposites.
Yes, I think he starts each interaction the same. He starts his interaction with Marcy and his interaction with Claudia the exact same, where he kind of comes into the situation, announces his intentions, but then there is sort of a diverging thing where it's
pretty apparent, and I guess it's a good thing that we can see it now. And
that's
be
the
like,
thing.
oh,
I don't think when Paul Thomas Anderson wrote this movie, I don't think that was the intention.
Absolutely not. It was a different time. It was a different day and age.
Totally different time. He wasn't trying to say like, look at how this white cop treats a black person, and look at how like that wasn't even part of it at all. So I guess you're right. Progress. We can look at this and be like, well, that's fucked. But anyways. John C. Reilly is this lovelorn cop, and he's a fucking sweetie pie, and I love him so much.
Yeah, he basically is. As soon as you meet him, he's presented as this, one of my notes said, he's almost like a superhero because, like you said, if he can make a difference, in one case,
yes,
then he's just trying to do good. And that's it.
I love that. I like that the movie presents him in this way. I also love that the movie presents him as sort of a lovable doofus. Like he sees himself as like an upstanding member of his community, but at the same time, he's kind of silly, and he's John C. Reilly, so he's got that innate just goofiness to him. But yeah, he's not like your square-jawed cop hero. He's a lot different than that.
I was loving him, everything was fine or whatever, and then I know he wasn't able to spot the insane amount of tweaking going on by.
He's a dumb idiot, absolutely, and like you said, love at first sight. That's clouding his mind.
That's why I kind of excused it, but even at dinner, like she was going to the bath. There's just so much tweaking behavior that as a cop, you got to spot that, dude. Yeah, I get it. He's lonely. He's
you know what I'm going to do is we're going to start with John C. Reilly. I'm going to try to introduce all these characters based on their connections to the previous character.
Okay.
And just see if I hit all of them without having to.
You probably can. This is how the movie was made.
There are a couple of gaps here and there, but we'll see. So John C. Reilly's big arc in this movie is that he gets a call to go see a woman whose music is too loud, and he's introduced to Claudia, played by Melora Walters.
Claudia is also a type of Magnolia plant.
Is that true?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Botanist. Got it. All right.
Little green thumb over here.
Guys, like I said, quiz kid Brenty Lark.
Oh, no. I'm going to smash my teeth now.
Oh, God. So, yeah, he meets Claudia. She is a strung out, drug addicted young woman living in an apartment, kind of having soulless sex with strangers. Kind of a difficult character. I guess another thing that we can point out at this point in his career, he's not great with female characters at all. And this movie is a little bit of a problem because the only two female characters in this movie are like drug-addled, weeping women.
I loved Philip Baker Hall's wife.
True. I think she's great. She doesn't have anything to do though.
No, not that she should have had more, if you ask me. I loved her character. She was one of the only people in there that seemed like a genuine good people besides
Stanley.
Stanley, and
he's a good boy.
He's a great boy.
Yeah.
What a voice.
Yeah, what a great voice he has.
Yeah.
So
what a lovely voice.
That's a lovely, lovely voice.
So yeah, he meets Melora Walters. She's just, I really like Melora Walters' performance in this, but she's only doing one thing, which is like you said, just kind of tweaking and like twitching and crying a lot. I think she's so like magnetic though. There's something about her where I'm like, I feel so like, I just feel my heart aching for this character, even though she's only giving you one thing.
Literally one thing. It did feel pretty shallow.
It's pretty one note, but like for whatever reason, she's just so magnetic, and I don't know her from really anything else.
I think that's because this movie, and they were like, yeah, that's it for her.
Maybe that's all she's got to offer. It's possible. Maybe she didn't. Yeah, maybe like Paul Thomas Anderson saw the one thing he needed from her, and
the reason why she has so much baggage and she's, living her life
connect it for me.
Haphazardly through life and whatnot. We find out later on in the movie that Philip Baker Hall's character, we don't get a cement answer, but we pretty do, that he molested her as a kid.
Yeah. So the scene,
even though he says he doesn't know, he can't remember it.
A scene that
eye roll.
A scene that absolutely breaks me, but everything in this movie breaks me. But anyways, you get introduced to her, and she gets visited by her father, Philip Baker Hall, who's the next character we'll talk about. He comes in, and immediately you're introduced to this problem, which is she hates her fucking dad. He's dying of cancer, and he just wants to like talk to her before he dies. And as soon as he walked in, and she what's her first reaction after he walks in? She goes
it just screams,
dude. She's like, she sees her dad, and it's not like, oh, what are you doing here? No, she wakes up and it's like, okay, now let's go all the way to 10 right now. She starts screaming at him, so like he did something terrible. Like, she's not overreacting in that scene at all. Like, she's having a genuine, visceral reaction to seeing her father.
Oh, see, I went the other, because of all the drugs, I wasn't sure if her mental state was there.
That's fair.
Yeah, you didn't get that piece till later, and then you say, oh. Right. No wonder.
Yeah, exactly.
She didn't do enough to him.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I don't know. You could read that both ways for sure, because you are introduced to her as like she's the whole movie. She's just snorting coke straight into her brain.
She's a day away from overdosing with how much she did in this one little.
Yep. Yeah. She's really just putting a lot up there. But then you're introduced to Philip Baker Hall. You find out that he is the long running host of a TV show that's a quiz show for kids.
What do kids know?
What do kids know? Yeah. What a fucking name for a TV show. So he is this
where 3 adults come on to challenge 3 quiz kids
weird
for money.
Concept for a show.
One of the adults, he's not in a lot, but it's Luis Guzman. Shout out.
He loves Luis Guzman.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, me too. How could you not? I just love that Paul Thomas Anderson's like, who are my guys? Philip Seymour Hoffman, Joaquin Phoenix, Daniel Day-Lewis. Luis Guzman, why the fuck not? Let's get him in here a couple times.
Yeah, Paul Thomas Anderson's like, oh, who do I want in my movies? Oh, let me think. Joaquin Phoenix, Daniel Day-Lewis, Philip Seymour Hoffman. Like,
easy.
Those
are his guys.
Yeah, pick better talent. Why don't you? Like, come on.
And then of course he slides a little Guzman in there. Anyways, Guzman plays himself in this movie and he's just funny. But Philip Baker Hall is this TV host. He hosts this game show, and he's dying of cancer and has a drinking problem, right?
Yeah, like as he gets done talking with his daughter, whatnot. Next time you kind of see him, he's just putting down shots at work right before he goes on air.
Clearly has a drinking problem. Yeah. Or he's just starting to drink a lot because he just knows he's going to die. Either way.
Sure.
His TV show is
that he's been hosting forever.
Yeah, it's like his 12,000th hour, they said, is the show. The TV show that he hosts is produced by a company that is owned by Jason Robards, who is dying in bed for the whole movie. He is a apparently well-off ex-TV producer.
Yeah, he runs I think it's called like the Partridge Productions.
Yeah,
where it's basically like an NBC type.
Yes,
that's what I'm assuming. That's Partridge, like Peacock. Yeah. I'm assuming they're kind of making
that makes sense. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's a good connect. Yeah, it's like the stand-in for that. So Jason Robards' character has like the most going on with him. Like he has the most tendrils reaching off because he is connected to Philip Seymour Hoffman, who is the nurse taking care of him while he dies of cancer, who is, no way to put it, an absolute hero.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely
he's the kind, besides
Stanley, he's got the purest soul in the film.
Is. He's the most together character, and he's absolutely the most sympathetic character in the whole movie. He's wonderful.
Oddly enough, I wasn't blown away. There was a scene towards the end when he starts crying that I was like, yeah, he's incredible.
Yes. Yeah.
But to a little bit, it's just kind of whatevs.
I think that what's impressive about his performance in this movie is that he sort of just lets himself serve the movie. Whereas the last 2 movies we've gotten from him, he's had at least one scene where he's like, oh, let me just crank it up all the way. Fucking
and dominate.
In this movie, he's so comfortable to sit back and just be the good, decent character who doesn't have to take the movie by the horns and just take it over, I do think he's fucking fantastic in this movie, but you're right. He doesn't have the scene-stealing performance that he usually does.
Yeah. He kind of lets Tom Cruise dominate a little bit.
So the other two characters that are connected to Jason Robards. One, Julianne Moore, who is Jason Robards' gold digger wife. She married him for money. And now that he's dying, she's sort of admitted to herself that she actually does love him. And she feels terrible that she's kind of used him for so long and cheated on him. And that's her whole arc, really, is her just having a crisis about actually loving the man who's about to die.
That's it. That's in her entire...
Pretty much.
She has a couple scenes with her lawyer where they talk about...
a doctor. Her dumbass takes 15 fucking prescriptions to one place and then gets mad at them for being suspicious of her. Dummy, take the prescriptions to like 4 different places and then they won't care. Get 2 from this place, 3 from this place, 1 from this place.
I wouldn't have thought of that.
What a dummy.
My lazy ass would have just went to the first one and been done with it. Give me the looks all you want.
She was very mad at them. So she that's her arc. And then the other character connected to Jason Robards, my beloved Tom Cruise.
Who plays his son, Frank Mackey.
Frank T.J. Mackey.
Respect the cock. And tame the cunt. Tame it. Take it on head first with the skills that I will teach you at work and say, no. You will not control me. No. You will not take my soul. No. You will not win this game. Because it is a game, guys. You want to think it's not, huh? You want to think it's not, you go back to the schoolyard and you have that crush on big-titted Mary Jane. Respect the cock.
Who is...
How to put this? What do you say about Frank T.J. Mackey?
He's a character.
Okay, so here's what Frank T.J. Mackey's whole thing is. He is... Imagine the old infomercials from back in the day. But instead of them selling you like sham wows and like, I don't know, Tupperware that can't break, this guy's just selling you seduction, and he wants to teach you how to be terrible to women.
Basically.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. He is so fucking energetic in this movie. He's kind of a parody of what his movie star persona is for all of the 90s, which is just this like, fucking strutting around peacock, big dick energy, Tom Cruise throughout the 90s. In this movie, he uses all that energy in such a disgusting way that you're just repulsed by him every second. He has the seminar throughout the movie where he's trying to, what is this? What a disgusting environment to be in.
Well, it reminded me almost like a multi-level marketing type thing where he has all these single hopeless guys that have no idea what they're like, how to get a girl, how to be like, it's like anyone, they don't want to be lonely anymore, so they go to this guy.
You know what? Let's just call it what it is. It's a room full of incels.
Okay. Okay. Accurate,
absolutely. You know what it is? His seminar is like a self-help seminar, but instead of trying to help yourself, you're just trying to get laid for the first time, right? That's sort of what the energy is, and it's gross. And he's wearing some real clothes in this movie, and his hair is real good, and I just love him so much.
I get that, like, he nailed the high energy, because when you're a salesman like that, especially like you're selling what he's selling to the amount of people he's selling it to, you got to have the high energy. So you see at some point, so he's having this seminar, and then they like take a break.
Seduce and destroy.
Everyone goes for lunch, and in his downtime, he gives some of his time to an interviewer.
Who, yes. Well, you know what? we'll get into that. I want to finish introducing all the characters. The interview scene is like one of the gems of this movie, I think. So, okay. Oh man, Tom. Okay. So Tom Cruise, I'm trying to connect. Oh no, I might've hit a brick wall. Tom Cruise. Who else does he interact with? Nobody.
Well, at the very end, basically the end of his thing, his dad who's dying wants to see him. Yep. And he ends up going to see him, which is huge growth on his part, because you can tell he had a terrible upbringing also.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's pretty tragic when you hear about it.
Yeah, but he does interact with what's his name, Freddie or Philip Seymour Hoffman's character?
His name's Phil.
Oh, just Phil. Okay.
Yeah. Phil Parma.
Phil Parma.
Yes. Man, I think that's it. Damn it. I think I I tapped out. I don't think I can get to connect to the other two characters I want to.
I got to talk about that. When he does show up, he mentions twice.
Yes, let's. If those dogs get near me, I will fucking drop kick them.
Yes.
What a line! A line so nice he had to say it twice.
Okay, but a dog died.
He didn't kill the dog. He didn't kill the dog.
Who killed the dog?
The dog died because early in the movie, Philip Seymour Hoffman is scrambling with the phone and the pills, and he drops pills on the floor, and you see a dog eat a couple of the pills.
Okay.
Yes, because I had the
I must have missed that because
when I had the exact same horrified reaction, and then I was like, oh no, that's the dog that ate all the pills. That makes sense. I'm not mad.
Okay, let me cross that out then, because that was a big thing. I was wondering. I was like, they're taking a freaking dog out on a stretcher?
No,
in a body bag.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the dog that ate the pills. He did not.
Okay.
At least we did not see him drop kick a fucking dog.
I'm just saying that's a little bad omen right there. He's talking about drop kicking a dog. The next shot is them taking a
dead dog.
Right.
Not great. Not great. Okay. Well, the other two characters, and honestly, Brent, if I'm missing any of them after this, like, correct me or we'll just come across them. But the other two characters that play a big part: William H. Macy, Quiz Kid Donnie Smith. Maybe the most tragic character in the movie for me, which we'll dive into, and his predecessor, Stanley, who is the new star Quiz Kid, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
That's pretty much all of them.
His dad was in there, and
his dad doesn't have anything else to do. His dad is purely
just
connected
there
to his story.
Piss me off.
He's a terrible, terrible dad.
Yeah,
right.
But yeah, that's pretty much it for the main little section there.
Yeah, that's everyone in the movie, I think. Okay, so you want to just talk about the big scenes that each character has?
So Tom Cruise, I'm like, as I'm watching his performance, he's on stage, and he's just, like you said, he's just overflowing with energy in this role, like to the point where he's doing backflips in his boxer briefs.
Yep.
He is just bouncing off the walls, and he's desperately trying to believe what he's selling to everyone, I think. But deep down, he is holding a ton of resentment.
He has so much sadness and like self-doubt inside of him. We don't ever see it, but you know it's there just because of what you end up getting.
Right.
Everything, all of it comes out in the interview.
Right. How he turned out, like, you see how he's acting right now, you know something must have sent him down this path and then you find out that, you know, his estranged father, the one that's dying, he basically was a piece of garbage. Not only to Frank Mackey, but to his mother also.
He cheated on her a bunch.
Which is, I found that a little weird, because normally when you have kind of I feel like most of the time when like a kid sees his dad be scumbag to women, they want to go the opposite route and not be like that. But, you know, I bet it's 50%, because a lot of people will follow in the tracks.
Absolutely. Like his insecurity about women is so like connected to his father and the way he treated women. And because he had to take care of his mom through cancer, I would have thought there'd be more of a healthier relationship with women. Absolutely. I mean, you get some of that because you find out that he lies. Like his public biography is that his dad is dead and he has a healthy relationship with his mother, which is the opposite. He has fully changed his own backstory to be that of what he wishes were true. He wishes his dad were dead and he wishes his mom was still with him, but unfortunately that's not the case. I would like to take this time to pull out my soapbox and talk about Tom Cruise for a moment. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's fine. Right before you do that, I want to talk about my favorite line of his in the movie, where he says, "Sweet mama baby."
You were gonna give me that cherry pie, sweet mama baby.
He's got a lot of lines in this movie. I should have
written
that
one. I actually wrote down and laughed at. I was like, because I felt like I feel like he ad-libbed that. I don't think
he had to have ad-libbed a lot of this, because it is very manic the way that the whole thing is going. When he says sausage, that gets me going. There's so much. No, let me put my soapbox down. I got to talk about Tom Cruise for a second. We're going to cover him a lot because he's worked with a lot of great directors. He's one of the biggest movie stars on the planet, but this is the first Tom Cruise movie we're covering. I would like to talk about it for a second. Is that okay with you? Tom Cruise is my favorite movie star of all time. I have this back and forth kind of, it's either Tom Cruise or it's Joaquin Phoenix. Those are my top two, right? They satisfy me in completely different ways. Tom Cruise is my favorite movie star of all time. I have this long history with him. I did not realize how much I loved him until a couple years ago. My girlfriend pointed out, you sure do watch a lot of fucking Tom Cruise movies. And I went, I guess you're right. I do fucking love him. Obviously, he's not the most woke person in the world, being a fucking member of Scientology and kind of a psychopath. But as far as like raw movie star energy goes, and honestly, like, he's one of the only people, I think, of his generation who are able to both be a charismatic leading movie star, selling, $100 million easy box office, and at the same time be an extremely interesting actor who's making like bold choices. His other contemporaries are like Will Smith. I love Will Smith to death, but he's a little one note, he knows his thing. He sells it. He can do his job. But aside from maybe one or two movies, Will Smith is just doing his thing.
Okay.
You got Brad Pitt, but I love Brad Pitt, but
I put those two in a boat constantly. Will Smith and Tom Cruise.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. It makes sense. I mean,
as far as talent wise, I feel like they're both handsome guys with middling, slightly above average talent wise. Yeah. Obviously, lately Brad Pitt, and Once Upon a Time, I loved him in that, but yeah. I as far as talent goes, I think Tom Cruise is a better actor than both of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And like a lot of people hate on Tom Cruise because of his weird, early 2000s meltdown and everything that sort of surrounded that. And I get that, but like, fuck off, man. He's the best actor on the planet. I love him so much. And this is Magnolia might be like a top 3 Tom Cruise performance for me. I think if I had to put like the top 3, I think Magnolia might make the cut. Certainly top 5 for me.
That's gonna be tough.
Yeah,
I feel like he's pretty darn good in a lot of things. We'll have to come back to that.
Especially in the 90s. Like his 90s run is fucking jaw-dropping, it's great.
Even late 80s. When he was he had like 3 or 4 in a row.
Yeah, well, honestly, once Top Gun happens, it's just like game over for like a whole decade plus for him. Him and Tom Hanks have like the craziest 90s ever.
Yeah, I always go back to Vanilla Sky. He was really good in.
I love Vanilla Sky.
A Few Good Men. He was incredible.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, The Firm, another 90s.
Love The Firm.
Yeah, we could do this all day. He's got a long filmography.
Yeah,
and he's great.
Yeah, love him. I'm glad that we both agree so that I don't have to try to strangle you every time we do a Tom Cruise movie.
No, I mean, I've definitely seen some stuff where it's like,
The worst Tom Cruise ever is like, oh, he was kind of miscast in that. Like, that's kind of the worst. I don't think he ever gives like ooh, that was bad. Like Brad Pitt has given some performances where I'm like, oh, buddy, you were not into this at all, were you? And Tom Cruise is such a weird, high energy guy. I don't think he can ever do a project and not put himself into it. It's just sometimes he's not the right choice.
And not only that, but he forces his choice upon you. Like
he is.
I'm going to make 5 Mission Impossible movies now, and you're going to watch me in all of them. And everyone does.
And I certainly do.
I mean, I was going to say, if they don't make money, they can't be good. But we've seen Fast and Furious, so
that's nothing.
No.
Okay, I guess that's a good enough Tom Cruise rant for now.
We'll be back.
We'll definitely be back at some point. We will be back. He's worked with so many fucking directors.
I heard a couple of weird things about how he was like treating. We had the baby with Katie Holmes.
Oh yeah, terrible.
Yeah,
he's not a good person. I want to be clear. I love Tom Cruise so much. I do not condone the actions of human being Tom Cruise. I love actor Tom Cruise a lot. Yeah, he treated Katie Holmes very poorly. He's not a good father. I don't think he's seen his kids with her in a long time. Like, the dude's got problems. You know what? While we're talking about Tom Cruise and his weird life, there is a scene in this movie in which Tom Cruise confronts his father, and might be his best scene in the whole movie. What do you think?
The breakdown?
Yeah.
I personally, I thought he was great with preferred the high energy.
Yeah, sure.
I
totally
thought,
get it. Yeah.
I don't know. You could definitely tell he was going for it.
Yeah. So I get really worked up at this scene. I always have been. Last year, I read a Tom Cruise biography, and they talk about how this happened to him. Like, he had a very estranged relationship with his father, especially after he became like a successful movie star. And his father reached out to him late in life, and he went and visited his father. Like, I don't know if it was actually on his deathbed, but it was the last time he ever saw his father alive. And he had like a cathartic breakdown with his father. Like he used that real life thing that happened to him in this movie, which is so crazy. That's why I think that's why he's going so hard in this scene, is because he's probably working through a lot.
Well, because you want to see these characters like grow, and this breakdown was like, it was pivotal, because it's like I wish, I always say this, I wish I could see what happens after the movie, because I feel like he would take almost like a full 180 after this. I feel like that moment with his dad was so important to him.
He is selling his company. He's done with it. He's not doing that anymore. Absolutely.
And the very next scene, you see he's going to visit his sister, or not his sister, his, I don't know what to call her, mother-in-law,
stepmother.
Sure, in the hospital, which he would never have done that.
No, yeah, it's such a crazy turn for his character to make, and it's totally deserved. Like the way that he like breaks down in that scene, you're like, oh yeah, that guy's never coming back. He doesn't need that persona anymore.
It kind of brings me to my first little issue, and I know this is supposed to be, it's a place and time. It's fragmented. It's supposed to be like that. I think it was one of the big reviewers. I think it was Roper or one of them. Said that this movie, more than any other movie he's ever seen, made him think.
Okay.
And that's great. You want movies. I enjoy movies that make me think.
Sure.
I also enjoy movies that I don't ever think. It's a nice little package and it's done.
Sure. Why not?
Okay.
I love all movies.
Right. This movie, I can tell why it made him think, because it's so fragmented. There's a lot of abrupt endings. Like Julianne Moore's character, for instance, she's in the hospital. Yep. I didn't feel like she didn't have the strongest plot line to begin with.
No.
And for it just to end with her waking up from an overdose.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the end for her. Yeah. The movie's not really interested in what happens to her at all.
Not at all. And I can make the same case with the last time we see Frank Mackey, that while, we got that growth, I wanted to see.
Right. The big scene that Julianne Moore gets is when she leaves the house and tells Philip Seymour Hoffman, like, tell him I'll be okay. This is all okay with me. And then she kind of cries and smiles and leaves. That's sort of her big, but even that, it's kind of like, okay. And then she goes and overdoses and wakes up in the hospital and she's fine. Whatever. It's not the most, but you're right. I mean, at least Frank, when he has his scene, it is sort of earth shattering. Like his performance is so extreme and like the emotions are just pouring out of him. So like when you don't really get back to him at the end, it's fine. Like you got what you needed out of him.
No, and like you see that early on in the film, like we were introduced to John C. Reilly's character. He deals with Marcy, this big bus. Turns out there's a dead body, whatever. It's this big thing. But before you even find that out, the yelling is climaxing and it's getting louder and it's just getting more and more. And it's this exchange that is just intensifying this whole time. And then he does this cut and we meet someone else. It's like, oh. And it's like, I wanted man. I wanted to continue those threads, and he did that like 3 or 4 times, and that's how he wanted to do it. It's just, I don't know if I appreciated it too much.
We wanted more of certain things. I get
it. Like
he's a great storyteller.
He takes me up to 10.
Yep.
And then we go see someone else.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's fair.
Yeah, you pulled the rug out from under me.
Yeah. Okay, so we talked. I mean, I feel like we've basically covered Tom Cruise. I feel good about that. John C. Reilly, his story sort of culminates in like he loses his gun. He goes on a date with Melora Walters.
Well, before he gets, he's I'm assuming he's on top of the world because he's single, he's lonely. He just asked this girl who he is crazy about out on a date. She says yes. As he's leaving her place, there's shots fired. So instantly, or no, it's not even shots fired. He sees somebody take off suspiciously running.
Yeah.
He follows in pursuit. Some shots get fired. He loses his gun and
he falls down a hill. Yeah, he falls down a hill and then it starts pouring rain and he loses his gun. And he's so humiliated by it. I feel so bad for him.
Yeah, that was pretty much his.
But well,
that's his climax because
he gets the last scene in the movie with Melora Walters.
He does. It's you don't. I mean,
you don't see him.
There's music overplaying, so you don't really hear him.
Right.
But I did like this part because you can tell what he's saying is earnest because she starts smiling.
She looks directly in the camera and smiles. Like, so her smile like sort of makes up for her total lack of character throughout the entire movie, where like
that's the first time you see her smile.
Yeah, but it's not even like, oh, she just smiled. Like she does smile, and it is like almost this transportative like smile where like she smiles and I'm immediately like glowing because I'm like, oh my god, she's finally happy. Like it's not just that she smiles. It's like it almost feels like a weight is lifted off of the entire movie right at the last second. I love that moment. Well, there we go. We talked about the end of the movie.
Well, you can't
we'll
anything without talking about Frog Ex Machina.
Yeah, we'll talk about Frog Ex Machina. Yeah, so I don't know. Philip Seymour Hoffman is this nurse. He's taking care of Jason Robards. I think he's a great character. He's just really nice. One of my favorite like jokes in the whole movie is when he calls to get like stuff delivered from the market, and he's decided he needs to get a hold of Tom Cruise, and the only thing he can think of is to order a bunch of porn magazines.
I'd like to get an order of peanut butter, cigarettes, Camel Lights, water.
Bottled water?
No. You know, forget the water. Just give me a loaf of bread, white bread.
Okay.
And do you have Playboy magazine?
Yeah.
Okay, one of those. And Penthouse, the magazine?
Yeah.
Do you have that? Okay, one of those. And Hustler?
Yeah.
Do you have that?
Yes, it. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Do you still want the peanut butter bread and cigarettes?
Yeah? What?
And at first you're like, wait, why is he ordering porn magazines? This is weird. He orders like 3 different like Playboy, Hustler, and whatever. And you're like, what? And then like finally he's so bashful about it when he's calling too.
Oh my gosh, that call. I don't want to, like, he was so good.
Yeah, he's great. He's the best. Yeah, he was just so bashful asking for these 3 different magazines. He's like, wait, you do have it?
Do you have Hustler? And it's like,
I just like when she says yeah, and he's like, oh, you do have it? Like he's so surprised.
Oh.
So he gets these 3
and
porn
they
magazines.
deliver.
They deliver. Yeah, I don't know what that's all about. They got fucking Uber Eats back in the day, but he gets these 3 porn magazines, and like you're like, why did he get these? And then you realize like, oh, he's looking for like this dude who's such a fucking scumbag that of course he's gonna advertise in porn magazines, and that's where he finds his number.
And I was so ready to be like to not like it, like, oh, here's another sleazeball. What is he going to be doing with all these magazines? No, he's actually pure as hell, and he's just so trying to help somebody's dying wish. Like,
he's great.
Yeah, he tells the other nurse, he's like, I'm going to stay on because he wants to be closer, and he feels he's so involved with helping this man find peace that when his replacement nurse comes on, he just says, don't worry about it, I'm going to stay on. And
I want to stay on. I want to see it through. I love that.
That is incredible.
So far in these 3 movies we've covered, do you think that this is like Philip Seymour Hoffman's or Paul Thomas Anderson's like most like sympathetic character?
Like who I sympathize the most with?
Like who? Like out of the 3 movies we've watched, so you're right.
So bad.
Let's talk about the quiz show, because we can cover a lot of characters with the quiz show.
Okay.
So you got Philip Baker Hall. He is this, I don't know, he's a quiz show host. He's kind of drunk, and he has a scene where a really like sad, this movie makes me so sad, but like a really sad scene where he's trying to queue up what the next question is going to be. And you can see that he's so out of it, maybe a little drunk, definitely sick, that he just sort of accidentally gives the answer.
Oh, see, I did not feel that, because walking when his assistant comes to come get him, time to do the show.
Yeah.
As he's walking him, he's like, I'm hammered.
Yeah, he's totally drunk. Yeah.
So I don't feel bad for him, his ineptitude. I feel bad that he's dying.
Yeah, no, okay. Like at the end of the movie, you find out that he probably molested his daughter, right? So like, no, I don't really feel bad for him in that way. I just watching someone like just crash
on air, live on air.
Sure, I mean, on air is like salt in the wound, but like the way that he's sort of just stammers through this scene, it is sort of heartbreaking the way he's sort of like he's falling apart as a person, and it's a little tough to watch.
Well, don't get drunk before work.
For sure. But he's also dying of cancer. I mean, he's the way that one time, the way he words it, where he's like, "It's in my bones. I don't have a chance." That's like such a gruesome way to put it.
He said, "I'm a goner." What do you say? Like, "I'm a goner," or something like,
"Yeah,
I'm done." Or that's not good.
No. So he hosts this TV show way back in the day, way before this movie happens. He hosted the same show in which William H. Macy's character became like the most what did did he break the record? Is that what it was when he was a
Yeah,
kid?
it basically got national acclaim because he was just destroying everyone. Just a whiz kid. Yeah, whiz kid Donnie
Smith, quiz kid Donnie Smith. Hey, it's quiz kid Donnie Smith. I don't know why it's so funny to me when he crashes into the 7-Eleven and one person rushes to help him and they immediately recognize him as this like totally obscure local famous person. It's fun. I don't know. So
do we know why he crashed into the 7-Eleven or the store?
I honestly don't remember. I think he's just fucked up.
He's something.
I mean, yeah, everyone in this movie is this is such a crazy movie when you think about it. It takes place in one small part of a city over the course of one day. And this is a movie about a bunch of people who are all at a fucking 10 emotionally. They all need therapy desperately. All of them are fucking either dying or like having their lives careen out of control, and it just all takes place in this one night in this tiny little area. It's kind of crazy to think about all these people in the same area.
I do like that he gives you a little not little title prompt, act prompters with the weather
update. Yeah
it was strange, and then but you get the irony of it because with the second act it's supposed to be lightly showers and it's clearly pouring
pouring frogs.
Yeah.
Okay. Ribbit. You got William H. Macy. He is a washed up. He had 15 minutes of fame when he was young, and he's been riding high on that ever since. But now he's washed up. He's clearly, I don't know. Is he an alcoholic? You think? Yeah.
Well, his character is shown to be frequenting a bar.
He's the most like openly wounded of the entire movie. He's the one character who is clearly sad and doesn't have like any way to hide it at all.
Yeah, I don't know, wounded, just lost is what I got. He doesn't know because we talked about him and his success as a kid. It turns out his parents took all his money, which happens to a lot of child stars.
Yep.
Unfortunately. And so he's pretty much just as an adult hanging out at a bar. He develops a crush on the bartender.
He's like mildly closeted.
Yeah, he's definitely, but yeah, he's so lost that he is looking to this random guy just for companionship. Obviously he likes the guy, but to the point where he is trying to make a connection so much he sees the bartender have braces. So like, what does he do? Braces. Exactly.
He's not that he has problems. He sees this guy who he has a crush on. He has braces, so he thinks, well, if I get braces, like that'll be something that we can connect about. Whatever. I don't even know what his thought process is really.
Yeah, it is a clear sign of desperation.
He breaks my heart every scene. William H. Macy is so good at playing raw pain. Like he's so good. Like in this movie, he does it so well. He does it so well in Boogie Nights, like the scene where he actually, snaps and kills his wife. He plays it very deadpan, but you can sort of see across his face all of the pain. And you seen Room?
Brie Larson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. He's the dad in Room. There's a scene in Room. I mean, Room is a very intense movie. There's a scene in Room where he walks into the hospital room and sees his daughter for the first time in like 7 years after she's been missing. And the face that William H. Macy makes, maybe it's because I didn't see it coming, but like I wasn't feeling sad the whole movie. I was a little stressed because it's an intense movie, but like I wasn't like emotionally worked up in any way, the way that this movie sort of builds me up. Room was just intense. He walks into the room and makes this like sad face where he like holds back his tears and he's so excited to see his daughter and like whatever. Immediately just pouring tears out of my face. Like
that's the best part of the movie.
He's so good. But William H. Macy is so good in this movie as well. You just feel bad for the guy. You can tell he's so like you said, he's just like lost in the woods and he can't
he's lost in life.
He has this in every scene he has just breaks my heart. The first scene is great where he gets fired by Alfred Molina.
Solomon. Another beastly performance by Alfred Molina.
Come on.
I put you in my store, my salesman, my fucking representation of Solomon Electronic, the quiz kid Donnie Smith from the game show.
I lent you my celebrity, my name, exactly.
Oh, fuck you. I paid you. I gave you a fucking chance and a chance over and over. You let me down. I trust you with so much. Keys to my store, the codes to my locks, the life and blood of my business, and return you smash in 7-Eleven and late, always late. Loans, the loans I give you for your kitchen that you never did.
I paid you back.
That 2 years. 2 years later, and from your paycheck, I never charge interest.
Just work. I gotta start. I'm gonna keep an Alfred Molina checklist over here because
Yes, let's do it.
I'm telling you, he's just on a roll.
2 for 2, baby. I love Alfred Molina. He's very good in this. Yeah, he plays like he plays Donnie's boss, who's firing him for basically just for being incompetent, right? Like he's just firing him because he's not making the sales.
He's not making sales, and he's always late. You can't do that.
Yeah, no, exactly. And Donnie's like begging with him, like, I need oral surgery. And I love the line that his like Alfred Molina's fucking buddy says, where he's like, Donnie, you got struck by lightning. I don't think that's a good idea. It's so funny.
There's a lot of good, or is like one of them. You got great teeth, Donnie. Like,
yeah. He does have great teeth. That's true.
I know there's a lot of good. There's a lot of good comedy in that little scene right there.
Yeah.
He's like, now watch it now, Donnie. Don't say that.
Oh man.
Because he finally starts to snap.
He calls him like a fucking asshole, and he's like, you know what? I'm done. Give me the keys.
Fucking assholes.
Oh, that's
like,
good. You ever watch Shameless? I feel like you'd be a Shameless guy.
Well, this was my very next thing I was going to say is you get to see, because one thing I feel like why he even got the role as the iconic TV dad, Frank Gallagher, is his ability to play drunk.
Yes.
And in this bar scene, William H. Macy is hammered because he's been sitting away. He's just
so sad.
You know, I think there's already scientific proof. If you're emotional, it increases your BAC, your blood alcohol content.
Really?
Emotions.
Well, he's the most emotional human being on the planet, so of course he has one shot and is fucked.
And you get this epic monologue where he's just saying, I have love in my heart to give.
Oh my God. It just makes me so like, I just want to hug him.
Yeah.
He sits at the bar next to Henry Gibson, who is like, Henry Gibson was in a bunch of Robert Altman movies, and he always plays like this little shrimpy sort of normal guy who you're like, what's going on with this guy? And like in this movie, he's sitting at the bar and he just looks like an imp from hell who just speaks in like riddles and rhymes, and you're like, what is this guy?
Okay, I've seen this guy. I feel like every time I see him, he's doing the same thing, and he's
like,
super,
what is this? You
super
look at
tan,
him.
like there's not a piece of hair on his body, like old man white hair, and
yes.
just like,
and he's like
he
tiny. Every time I see him, I'm like, is he from hell? What, like, has he been sent here to like trick a mortal into selling their soul or something? What is he? He's doing so much in this movie. I don't know
this
what
movie,
his character's supposed to be.
He's just sitting at the bar,
and he speaks in like cryptic riddles.
Yeah, he's trying to be
he's
like
so strange.
Old, I don't know how to explain it, but
he's like an evil leprechaun.
He makes Donnie mad because he's trying to basically lure the bartender, the cute bartender, over with his sugar daddy money.
Yeah.
You know, he keeps throwing up them bills.
Yeah.
And Donnie's like, how dare this guy? Like, I'm surprised he went right on over there and sat next to him, but then proceeded to get wasted with him.
God, that's such a weird. Henry Gibson's so weird in this. I don't know. Like, the things that I like about this movie are a little bit hard for me to describe because it is all sort of emotional for me. Like I said earlier, I would defend this movie to the death. It's not that I can make a lot of sense of the plot or like the themes of the movie. It's just the way that this movie has like, it sort of washes over me in a way. And a lot of it has to do with the music. I mean, you get that like kind of Norah Jones-esque version of One Is the Loneliest Number in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This movie just feels like something that a bunch of like emo kids on Tumblr would put like screenshots on. You know what I mean? There's a lot of that energy to this movie, which I am a sucker for that kind of shit. Like, admittedly,
that's your MO.
It really is. Explains a lot of why I like this movie. But yeah, Donnie Smith breaks my fucking heart. At the end of the movie, he goes to break into his boss's building to steal money so that he can get corrective surgery that he doesn't need. And at the last minute, he feels like this is not what I should be doing, and he goes to try to break back in. And we'll leave him there for now because I want to like wrap up everyone with the frog.
Yeah, I mean, he leaves the bar after this epic sad monologue, and
he has this great line where I think a couple of the characters have said it, where they say the past, we might be through with the past, but the past isn't through with us, which is a wonderful line, and B, very resonant for a lot of the characters in this movie who are trying to reckon with their past and stuff.
Yeah, it's a little scary.
It's intense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he ends up leaving the bar and he wants to go and he tries to rob.
Yeah, he makes the decision to rob Solomon.
Yeah.
So there's this, you get all these patented Paul Thomas Anderson long drawn out takes.
Yeah.
These long and it's just, I love those, man. And I'm gonna miss them when we move on to the next one because they just make everything look Like it just puts me there. I don't need all this editing. Give me, it's just the way he does it. It's
sometimes,
crazy.
man, sometimes all you need is for someone to turn a camera on and just walk away from it and just let the scene play.
Just point and shoot.
He does it a lot in this movie. I talked about this, I think, in the Heartache episode, where like he will just let a scene keep going, and you're like, where is this going? Like we've already sort of concluded what the scene is about, and they're still talking, and you're just sort of mystified by it. This movie is 3 hours long for a reason.
But I'm so used with the last two, I'm so used to getting a little extra after, it's like, oh, we got what the scene was about. And now I'm going to let the dialogue continue. Yeah. And I'm going to give you a little something extra.
It's great.
Like, for instance, but like last week's Boogie Nights, you get the whole scene with, the practice, Dirk Diggler and Roller Girls practice session.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he leaves the camera on, Julianne Moore's character already went to bed, whatever, but you leave the camera on Burt Reynolds' face.
Just watching.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, now you see like this guy. I don't know. I like that. Leave the camera on. I'm all about it.
I love it. Okay, the last character that we should probably wrap up is Stanley, who is the new quiz kid.
Right. Kind of like, it's a mirror image of Donnie Smith.
Yeah. Which is kind of sad to think like that's probably where his life is going to end up. But oh well. Stanley is kind of a magical little character. He has this like unending knowledge of the universe. He knows everything. And he only seems to speak when it is about something that he either wants to know more about or knows all about. Like he doesn't have a lot of interior, you don't learn a lot about him as a character. He's just sort of like this oracle.
Yeah, I mean, the very first time we meet this kid, he's just being dragged around at feels like Mach speed by his dad. I instantly feel bad for him just getting dragged around everywhere. His dad really doesn't acknowledge him other than the fact that he can get money from him.
No, the way his dad is treating him, it's like when you look at that situation and then you cut over to Donnie Smith, you're like, okay, this all makes sense now. Of course, Donnie Smith is the way he is because I'm sure his dad treated him the same fucking way that Stanley's dad's treating him. It's sad.
And then, but I mean, kind of towards the end of it, he has this kind of realization that he needs to be treated better.
Yeah.
And he tells his dad, you need to treat me better. He wakes him up out of a dead sleep.
And I don't
knowing the dad, I'm already like,
all he says is go to sleep. He doesn't really give into that. But I feel like what's good about this scene is like Stanley's finally talking. Like Stanley's finally saying something that he needs, and he needs his dad to be nicer to him. And that's like
because Donnie never did.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Stanley's the best. I love him.
Well, but you see the reason why Donnie, it's almost like he never had this incident that shattered the bubble like Stanley just had on TV.
True. Yeah.
Throughout, like that's major traumatizing stuff. And I think that's that incident that might have set him down a better, safer path. And he makes that apparent by telling his dad.
You might be onto something because I think Stanley might actually, between his, and I don't even want to call it a meltdown. I don't think what happened to him is a meltdown where Stanley kind of is like, no, I don't want to do the final round. I'm not a doll. I should be treated better. I have all of this. I'm so smart. I don't think that is like a meltdown. Like he is sort of blooming into a real human being. And he's like, no, I'm done being a robot for you people. I like that scene a lot. That is a very triumphant scene for me.
That's what the scene wants you to feel. Like this is a big a big page turning moment for Stanley in his development and all that. And then I don't know, it felt like it was undercut by the fact that the dad, like it seemed like.
Yeah, but I think when like.
I wanted to like progress I hope he continues to talk that way to his dad. But we see no evidence that it's going to work.
Right. I think there is like a really nice emotional release when he kind of breaks on TV and then at the end does confront his dad in private and is like, it might not go the way the audience wants, but I don't know, like Stanley walks away from that, not with his shoulders, shrugging down. He walks away from it like, you know what, I said what I needed to say. So like, I don't know, I've got high hopes for Stanley.
I'm worried because what if we don't know, but what if Donnie had a similar thing and it's just basically a true mirror because Donnie's parents didn't listen.
Well, yeah, that's true. I don't know.
I guarantee Stanley's dad is still going to be trying to get money from him.
But you know what? The movie does end on that beautiful, glimmering smile of Melora Walters. Maybe the movie is ending saying, like, things are going to be okay for some of these characters. You know, at the end of the movie,
for her,
we don't check back in with Philip Baker Hall or Julianne Moore or Tom Cruise, probably for a reason, right? Those characters had their ending. But, like, maybe when we check back in with Stanley and we check back in with Melora Walters, and she has that beautiful smile on her face, maybe the movie's saying, like, some of these characters are going to be okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think she, like, her character will definitely have some, you know, traumatizing issues to get over. But those three characters, the John C. Reilly's, you know, that the date, we didn't talk about their date, but that's a big, they basically admit their faults to each other. It's a very warm moment, even though she still runs off. I get it. She's still dealing with stuff.
I just love their kiss.
I haven't been on a date since I was married, and that's 3 years ago. And Claudia, whatever you want to tell me, whatever you think might scare me, won't. And I will listen to you. I'll be a good listener to you if that's what you want. You know, and I won't judge you. I know I can do that sometimes, and I won't. And I can listen. And you shouldn't be scared of scaring me off or whatever you think that I think, and on. You should just say it, whatever it is, and I'll listen to you.
You don't know how fucking stupid I am.
It's okay.
You don't know how crazy I am.
It's okay.
I've got troubles, okay?
I'll take everything at face value. I'll be a good listener to you.
I started this, didn't I? Didn't I? Fuck.
Whatever it is, just say it. You'll see.
You want to kiss me, Jim?
Yes, I do.
What is it? She's like, do you want to kiss me?
Well, because they're like kind of not yelling at each other, but they're sort of like speaking loudly about their emotions at each other, and it's back and forth and back and forth. And she says, "Do you want to kiss me?" And he says, "Yes, I do." And then they kiss, and the camera zooms in on them. I don't know. It's very nice. I was like, that's nice. I like it when people kiss. That's nice.
Now she wants to kiss you. You're definitely not spotting this manic tweaking behavior.
No,
at
he is
all.
so oblivious. He is so turning every part of his brain off
And that
just to love
sucks
her.
because I know. I was hoping he was just a super cop, but really he was just a good guy.
No, he's not Pacino from Heat. Like,
no.
Oh god.
So it's yeah, I think those three characters, with especially the reconciliation with your mom at the very end.
Yes.
Like, I think they'll be all right. But yeah, like Philip Baker Hall's character, I guess he dies in a house fire.
Or, I mean, even if he doesn't, he was about to kill himself, and he also has cancer. He's going to die. Like, we don't need to. And also, I don't want to check back in with him. He's a fucking child molester.
Well, if they're
I'm
gonna,
glad he's dying.
well,
right?
they teased his death.
Get him out of here.
I don't tease his death. Give me his death.
Give me it to me in glorious 4K. Let me see him hung in the streets.
Dude,
absolutely.
Like, let's go. Like, put a bow on his storyline. Instead, it's just a cutaway, and I'm left to believe that he died in a house fire, but I'm not sure.
Was it a fire? Did he shoot the TV, and then like the TV caused the sparks to a fire?
Yeah, Frog Ex Machina caused the gun to shoot a socket, and the socket caused.
Should we talk about Frog Ex Machina? Kind of a crazy. Okay, let's talk. Yeah, I don't know. We've talked about all the other characters. Let's talk about Frog Ex Machina.
Okay, so the culmination, like all these different plot lines, they're kind of intersecting right as this.
Okay, so here's I want to get Brent's reaction, because this is the part of the movie that I was like, he's gonna fucking hate this. He's going to be like, fuck this movie. He's going to turn on the movie. So I really want to know what your thoughts are on the end of the movie, which is not all, but some of these characters end up on the same street. Maybe they end up actually with each other, like John C. Reilly and William H. Macy. Some of them are just in their houses when this happens, but the movie is building and you're thinking, oh, something's going to happen that's going to connect all these characters. What is it? A bajillion frogs fall out of the sky.
And I looked up there was an incident in real life where frogs fell out of the sky.
Okay.
Not to this extent, because it seemed like there's 17,000.
Well, it goes on for minutes. They fall for a couple minutes.
And it's visceral. These are gross, toads falling and going.
Like and these aren't like little frogs that you find in the forest. These are like double cheeseburger sized, like big boys, you know? Yeah, so I have heard that like something like this has happened. I personally don't care. I don't really need this to be like a realistic thing at all. But what do you think of this scene?
Well, you want it to be a little real. You don't want them to start flying.
No, I don't care. I want to talk about this scene. I want you to talk about this scene.
If Frank T.J. Mackey started flying around, I don't think you would have the same feeling. You want some realism.
Okay.
But so the whole movie is built around the idea of coincidence, and this is the coincidence that brings all these plots together.
Yes, and it's so weird.
I didn't hate it.
I'm surprised. Okay, cool.
I tell you what, I hated the gun.
I kind of hated the gun too. The gun happened and I laughed, and then immediately was like, well, wait a minute.
No.
I'm going to actually come to a little bit of a defense of the gun, even though I do not love the gun. This movie does a couple times sort of transcend out of reality. And it starts to do things that aren't literally happening on screen, that are just more supposed to be representations of maybe the character's emotions or like just the weird theme that this movie's dealing with. Chief among them is when everyone starts singing that Amy Mann song, Wise Up.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that part.
Oh, that's probably my favorite part of the whole movie.
Really?
I absolutely,
because it's coincidence that they were listening to the same station.
They weren't all listening to the same song. That didn't actually happen. No one was actually singing Wise Up.
I saw lips moving.
Yeah, okay.
They were singing.
It's supposed to be like this metaphorical like thing where all these characters are finally at the razor's edge of their storyline. It's all coming to a head for all of them. They're all about to Frank T.J. Mackey's about to go in and finally confront his father after years. You know, it's all building, and they all sing along to this song, and the lyrics are, "It's not going to stop unless you wise up." And it's like a 3-minute scene. I wish it were a 12-minute scene. I wish this scene went on forever.
Oh, God.
I love it so much. It's so like, this is the scene that like makes me be like, God, I wish I would have seen this movie when I was 13. I like would have gotten this tattooed on my face. I love this fucking scene so much. But this is what I'm talking about. Like the gun falling out of the sky with the frogs is kind of like
Coen Brothers-ish.
Oh yeah. That's actually a really good correlation. It is sort of like a Coen Brothers kind of thing.
Because I just feel like they deal with ex machinas.
They certainly do. But like, yeah, because the movie has previously before the gun has done a couple things that are more abstract and non-literal, like everyone singing. I don't like the gun falling, like it's sort of like a nice touch, I guess, but it doesn't really do anything for me. I just kind of go, huh, that's funny. Like that's all, you know?
So like on one hand, I love that it's actually wrapped up a plot line. Like
you're like, oh, there's a gun.
I'm like, I love that. Cool. There's not a killer on the street with a cop's gun, you know?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it's like, oh, but it fell from the sky. That's weird.
It doesn't really make sense. The frogs don't really make sense either, but like, I don't know, the frogs, God, how do I even talk about the frogs?
Frogs, they could be anything. You could replace the frogs with anything. It just happens to be a circumstantial event that does it. Like I said, I don't have a problem with that at all. I thought it actually gave the film a boost. Like you see it affecting all the different plot lines. I love seeing that, how everyone's being affected by, and like it wakes up Frank Mackey's dad, who's literally about to die, and what brings him out of his near-death coma.
Right.
But the frog noise. So
I love the frogs because like I think you could pin a very easy criticism on the frogs and say like, well, that's just cheating. Like you built up this 3-hour-long movie and you're expecting this easy. You're expecting like Paul Thomas Anderson to tie a knot around the movie and be like, look at what I've done. And he does sort of just pour a bunch of frogs on the movie. And he's like, isn't that crazy?
Surprise.
But I think that's sort of the magic of it. I think the way he sets up the movie with those 3 short stories in the beginning, and he's saying like, here's something you're used to hearing, like a local legend, some sort of fable, some sort of, whatever, some fairy tale, whatever. You hear these, And it's all about like people brushing up against each other and fate and destiny and coincidence, like we talked about. And then he leads you through this 3-hour-long movie. And instead of ending it with some cheesy shit where all the characters like end up holding hands and like, you know, whatever at the end, he's like, I'm just going to pull the carpet out for you. All of your expectations that I've built up for you, you're not getting that. You're getting fucking frogs. That's what you're getting. And then you get my, like, the scene that sort of makes the entire frog thing work for me. I really like all the frogs, but when it cuts to Stanley and the slow motion silhouettes of the frogs falling behind him, and he says, this is something that happens, I'm like, oh, well, then I'm good. Like, all I needed was the smartest character in the movie who knows only truth to say, this is something that happens, for me to buy into it. That's all I needed.
I love that part.
It's great, right?
Because what is he doing at that? Is he just back studying at that point?
He broke into the library so he could study, because that's his only fucking coping mechanism.
Because that's the only thing he's allowed to do.
Yeah.
By his
and it's the one thing he loves to do.
Yeah, I guess.
I think he does love it. It's just,
yeah, if you wouldn't,
yeah,
you know. But
yeah, whatever.
No, to me, I thought I had no problem with the frogs. To me, I thought they jumped the shark with the synchronized singing.
I love it.
And
because they're not actually singing, Brent. It is a pure emotional expression of all of the characters' heart song at that moment. That's all.
You know what I would have loved? Have everything exactly the same. Lips not moving.
No, I think you need them to actually like break into like
or make it real and show me that they're all listening to the radio. Like, come on, I need one or the other.
You don't like the magical sort of
they're all mind melding the same song.
No, that's not what it is. It's just like, I don't know. I'm sure Paul Thomas Anderson heard that song and was like, wow, this is a song that's really speaking to my heart. I want to put this in my movie. And then like at the last minute was
he
like,
did a bunch of drugs and he's like, okay, let's
probably. I mean, let's be real. I love that. I love when they all sing. That's the scene that, like I said, like 13-year-old James would just be like, I just love it. I think it's so good. Okay, I have one more scene I want to talk about.
The busted teeth.
I have 2 more scenes I want to talk about. Let's talk about the busted teeth, because the scene I want to talk about, we can kind of talk about outside of the plot of the movie.
Yeah, so this is just finishing up Donnie Smith's quiz kid Johnny Smith storyline. He tries to go back to return the money. He can't because he broke the key off from the door. So he tries to climb up onto the roof to get in. This is when John C. Reilly's character, off duty, should be on top of the world, coming off a date and a kiss.
I think a pretty good date. I think it went well for him.
Oh,
even though she walked out on him.
Yeah, that probably brought him back down to life anyway.
He seemed happy though.
Yeah. Well, he sees William H. Donnie Smith climbing and decides to investigate. This is when you get Frog X Machina.
That's actually the first time you see it. You see him, he goes to turn around and boom, that's the first frog.
And it's scary when it first happens.
It's pretty frightening. Yes, it is a
you're
loud.
Not expecting it, and it's loud.
Aren't. If you were expecting it, you are probably schizophrenic.
And that brings us to Donnie Smith, who is halfway up the ladder, and he looks up, and a frog hits him square in the face, knocks him down, bam, breaks his teeth.
Lands right on his face, breaks his fucking teeth.
The teeth.
Now he needs braces.
Now he needs braces.
Yeah, I love that. I love that John C. Reilly helps him like return the money, which he was going to do anyways.
I love that so much.
It's just beautiful.
Like, you just see more of how good a hero-ish John C. Reilly
I like that. Like, is all of this is happening while all happening while Jason Robards is narrating? Something is happening. Something is being narrated, or music is playing when this is happening, because you get a lot of scenes of John C. Reilly talking, but you don't hear him because like something's playing over it. Is that the music? I can't remember. Yeah. There's a really long Jason Robards monologue where he talks about like how terrible he is and like that's playing over a lot of the scenes. But there's a really great shot where the camera is inside the safe pointing out, and you see Donnie Smith returning the money, and you just see John C. Reilly over his shoulder, like clearly giving him like motivational speaking.
I love that. I love that. I almost freaking cried at that part because I was like, because I didn't want Solomon to I just felt already so bad for Donnie.
He's been through so much.
And the fact that he was good enough inside to know to return the money. Yes. I was like, come on, give him a break. I was like, oh, is he going to get shot returning the money? But no, he is, he had a kindly officer to help him get the job done.
And then, of course, the scene that absolutely makes me weep, the scene that really breaks me, is when you get that close-up of William H. Macy with the bloody mouth and the teeth. And he's just like, I have so much love to give, and I don't know what to do with it.
I don't know where to put things, I really do have love to give. I just don't know where to
my god, dude!
And you see, because it's kind of John Cena, he knows exactly that pain.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite scene. Really,
it's such a good part. It's a really good. The cool thing about that scene is a lot of the characters when their stories are starting to intersect, it just makes sense. You're like, well, of course, like this person has to talk to this person. Like when John C. Reilly and William H. Macy have their moment, it doesn't make sense. Like at no point are you led to believe that those two characters are ever going to cross paths. And like the fact that they do, it all makes sense when they do, but it's just like kind of lovely when they do. It's nice.
And they have so much in common and they don't really know it, but it's good. I like that part.
Yeah, it's great. Okay, so the other scene I wanted to talk about, it's actually two scenes, one from this movie, one from Boogie Nights. This is two movies in a row where a character is having an absolute breakdown, and in the background of the scene, Philip Seymour Hoffman is having a nervous breakdown as well in reaction to their breakdown.
Because, I love it.
In Boogie Nights, you have that scene where Dirk Diggler's screaming at Jack. He's like, "This is my big dick," and you can just see Philip Seymour Hoffman like he's like holding himself,
like
and he's
crying, like almost
he's so worried for Dirk. And then in this scene, Tom Cruise is having his fucking crazy meltdown, and you can just see Philip Seymour Hoffman like he's been told to stay there in case anything happens, but he's just watching it, and like in the background of the scene, you're like, there he is. There's the best actor who's ever lived. I love him.
Oh my god, he's so good.
Yeah.
Oh, his reactionary. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
because that's what we were talking about earlier. Kind of that scene in particular, he lets Tom Cruise dominate, but he's so good. Like, yeah, man, we could talk about Philip Seymour Hoffman forever.
Hey, guess what? We will. He's in 2 more movies.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, is there any other things you wanted to talk about with Magnolia?
Let me take a look here. Like sweet, I mentioned Sweet Mama Baby.
Sweet Mama Baby.
Great line.
Yeah. No, I think we're good.
Yeah. I mean, this is just sort of like a movie that it's unlike any of his other movies for me, in that this is the movie that feels sort of like a raw emotional experience. I mean, listen, I love all of his movies so fucking much, but sometimes I don't love them for like the sentimental, emotional kind of reasons. The way that I love Interstellar, the way that Interstellar really hits me. This movie really hits me in that way.
Kind of a personal.
Yeah. And I mean, like, listen, man, I'm like a fucking guy who grew up on Tim Burton. Like, of course I love shit that's just like, look at these images and this music. Like, yeah, it works for me. And this movie does, like I said, so many different characters. I'm just like, I feel for them, and the music plays, and I'm like, well, that's a cheap shot, but it fucking works on me. Like, it all just works. So are you ready to rate the movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is just like last week. I went back and forth, but I settled. I definitely enjoyed it. I think it is a better movie than Boogie Nights, so I gave it a better review or better rating. 3.5 out of 3.5 stars out of 5.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. This is a 4-star movie for me.
Okay.
I think every time we've rated a movie for Paul Thomas Anderson so far, I have been 1.5 star above you each time. I'm pretty sure.
This one was dangerously close
to the 4.
To the 3.
Oh, okay. It was going the other way.
Just at the music, I felt it jumped the shark.
Oh man, no, I love the music. One of the best parts of the movie for me.
You thought it was going to be the frogs.
I really thought you were going to hit the frogs.
No. I think you could replace those frogs with anything. I think it
worked just as well.
It was a very good mechanic to bring everyone together. I thought he did. That was pretty good.
Awesome. Okay. Well, that was great.
I have a question.
I have an answer.
So, are there any movies coming up in the future that are getting you a little excited?
Really teed me off there. Yes. So, as we're recording this, the day that we're recording this, the main art theater in Royal Oak closed.
I just saw, yeah.
I'm absolutely gutted about it. I've seen so many movies there. I've had so many great experiences there. It's really sad. It's really sad that theater's closing. It was an institution. I mean, I'm fortunate enough to live near Ann Arbor. There are a couple of really great indie theaters over here, but over on the east side of Michigan, like that place was like a really important place to see indie films, foreign films, art house films, so it really sucks that place is closing. Anyways, I got really sentimental today, and I was like, you know what? I really need to start supporting the local theaters as much as possible. So tomorrow I actually might go tonight. No, I don't have enough time tonight, but tomorrow I'm definitely taking my ass over to the Michigan Theater in Ann Arbor, and I'm going to see In the Heights. The new musical from John Chu, starring Anthony Ramos.
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yeah, it's based on his musical. I'm not a big fan of Lin-Manuel Miranda.
I've heard.
Well, I haven't seen Hamilton and I haven't seen In the Heights. So, I mean, it's not really based off of his work. It's more just based off of his public persona, which is very annoying to me. I think he has way too much energy. But I'm really excited to see In the Heights.
It's good energy, though. He's a good person.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's all very well placed. It's just sometimes I'm like,
I get it.
Maybe just tone it down a notch. He's been on Jimmy Fallon 7 times this week. Let's calm down a little bit.
It's like, 10 is good sometimes. Give me a 7.
Can you just turn it down a little bit, bud? So I'm very, very excited to see In the Heights.
I have heard nothing but great things about it, like mind-blowingly good reviews. Yeah. And I just got goosebumps.
Great plan is to go see it tomorrow at the Michigan Theater. Support your local theaters. They need the help right now for sure, badly. And I don't know, like John Chu's last movie was Crazy Rich Asians, which was like one of my favorite, a wonderful movie. Yeah. Very excited for John Chu to be making a musical. It just looks like a great time at the movies.
It looks like a ton of fun. The colors are popping.
Everyone's beautiful.
Like I always like imagine what it'd be like just to be on like the set of a musical as it is. Just everyone's just dancing and singing and having fun. I bet it's crazy, to routine to learn all that and whatnot, but it's a lot of work. Yeah.
Anyways, what about you, man? What do you got coming up?
Great pick. I also am very excited to see that movie.
Yes.
But mine is I went with a directorial debut.
Ooh.
Yeah. I know. Okay. I figured that'd get you excited. This guy's name is Jimmy Giannopoulos, I believe his name is.
Not familiar.
No. He's done a lot of TV stuff.
Okay.
But this movie is coming out June 21st. It's called The Birthday Cake.
Whoa, I've never heard of this. Okay.
It's got Ewan McGregor. It has the feeling I supposedly it's about a mob boss that gets killed a long time ago. 10 years later, there's kind of like the family is coming together, and I think there's some power dynamics going on. Val Kilmer plays like the old mob uncle.
There it is. There's the reason you're going. There it is. I know you've got a sweet spot for Val. I know you do.
I do. Well, I feel so bad because he had major, for those that don't know, he had major throat surgery.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he looks like a shell of the.
He looks rough.
Exactly, but the fact that he is getting this role and the cast, like it's not small. This is a healthy sized cast, but it is it's like this little mob story that has to deal with like just the power dynamic. I think I can give you a little synopsis, but it looks good. June 21st, which is
that's coming up.
Yeah, it's 9 days away.
Okay.
So we got Ewan McGregor, Val Kilmer, Lorraine Bracco, William Fichtner.
Fichtner. You gotta get him
Luis Guzman.
There he is.
Penn Badgley, Jeremy Allen White from Shameless, who I really like.
Okay.
And there is a trailer out, so if you want to go take a look at it.
I actually might, yeah. I mean, more movies the better, so.
Yeah.
Cool.
And like I said, it's right around the block, and I know you're looking for new stuff.
Always looking to go see movies at the theater. All right, you ready to play the game?
We're doing the game. Okay,
time to play the game. You know who you're going to do today?
Tom Cruise.
Nope.
Okay,
we're doing Julianne Moore.
Julianne Moore's highest grossing film.
So I'm gonna have Brent guess the top 5 Julianne Moore movies.
This is a form of torture for me.
A little bit. But I think you're gonna do great. I actually might have you do the top 6 because we're gonna do top 6 because one of them just counts as 2 and it's not fair. So number 1 and 2 are from a big franchise that like has no fucking imprint. It was a huge franchise in the mid 2010s and has had like no lasting legacy at all. Like I feel like no one talks about this franchise anymore.
In the 2010s?
Yep. Right in the middle of the 2010s.
You're really sticking it to me. I don't really.
It's based on a YA franchise, like a YA book franchise, and it stars like one of the biggest actresses of that decade who has sort of gone quiet now.
Julianne Moore.
Yeah, I honestly didn't know she was in these movies. I didn't. She actually might not be in the first 2. She's in the last 2 movies.
There's 4 of them.
There's 4 of them. Yeah.
I'm drawing big time blanks over here.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen these. I don't know why you would have, except for maybe because you like the lead. The okay, this is gonna give it away.
I probably have seen it.
I can't give you the lead.
No, it's
the lead of the franchise is like a big female like movie star. Someone that I don't really like that much, that I'm sure you love.
Are you talking about Sandra Bullock?
No. Much younger.
Oh, okay.
Much younger.
Okay.
Like a modern day.
Like a Scarlett Johansson?
Yeah, right idea. I think she's actually a little younger than ScarJo. She's also in a different franchise that ran for a while. She was in a superhero franchise. She was in like 3 of those.
Julianne Moore or the mystery?
The lead of this franchise, yes.
Jesus. What, like just superheroes? Yeah. It's always tied to superheroes.
Yeah, that's an easy way to get you to guess.
Yeah, but it's you really stuck me here with Julianne Moore. I'm drawing blanks.
Okay, the lead of this franchise is Jennifer Lawrence.
Okay, so it's got to be the X-Men's.
That's the superhero one. She's in a different franchise.
Julianne Moore's in one of the. Oh, okay.
No, Julianne Moore's not in the X-Men. She's in the other Jennifer Lawrence franchise.
Oh yeah, she plays President Coin in the Hunger Games.
You knew her name.
Yeah,
President Coin.
Yeah, I actually thought she did good in that.
The president of coins.
Donald Sutherland is amazing in that. The Snow.
Wow. All right. Philip Seymour Hoffman also in those movies. So yeah, number 1 and number 2 are both Mockingjay Part 1 and 2.
Oh. Okay.
All right. Number 3 is a sequel to one of the fucking best movies of the 90s. But this movie is not very good.
Speed 2 Cruise Control.
No. Good guess though. Is she in Speed 2 Cruise Control?
No, Willem Dafoe is the bad guy.
No. So this number 3, man, just one of the biggest, like when you think of blockbuster, you think of this fucking movie.
Jaws.
Okay, but think in the 90s.
Okay. Terminator 2.
Okay, no, but like kind of in that vein, sort of that kind of exciting movie.
Okay.
Made by one of the most famous directors of all time.
It's Spielberg.
Correct. What's his big blockbuster in the 90s?
And Spielberg, no, E.T. was 80s. Firestarter, no, that was in Spielberg.
You're going to feel stupid that you haven't guessed it already.
No, I already. Oh, wait, no, I already got it. It's The Lost World.
Lost World, Jurassic Park 2. Pretty bad movie.
I liked it.
It's all right. Yeah.
I hated the third one.
I think we've talked about this on the podcast before. Still haven't seen it. All right. Number 4. She plays a very small part in this movie. Another just fucking rip-roaring, fun 90s action movie. A movie that you definitely have seen a bajillion times. Like, it's just part of your DNA, I'm sure.
90s action, I for sure saw it.
Yeah. Like, just, and like, starring like a guy who in the 90s was just in this zone, just doing fun action stuff that we all love.
So 90s action guys, that's either, Arnold, Stallone, Jean-Claude, or Seagal, or Bruce Willis.
Okay, he's closer to Bruce Willis. This guy, he was the thing about this guy is he had like sort of a fun 90s thing, but he's also like a pretty well-respected actor who's just been around forever. He's been in 2 of the biggest franchises of all time. God, what else to say about him?
That's
you love him. What's like the biggest fucking franchise of all time?
Well, now it's the MCU.
Okay,
before Star Wars.
Right. So one of the people from Star Wars.
Okay, so it's got to. Okay, so we're thinking Harrison Ford.
There you go.
And Julianne Moore.
Yeah. What is one of like Harrison Ford's most fun like 90s action movies?
Well, like Raiders? Or Raiders was 80s.
No. This is not like a franchise. Although this did have a sequel that Harrison Ford was not in.
Really?
Yes. We've talked about it on this podcast, not on this episode, but in past podcasts. We've talked about the sequel to this movie.
Oh, okay. So is it one of his Jack Ryan roles, Clear and Present Danger, Patriot Games?
Nope.
No.
Not a Jack Ryan.
No Air Force One.
No, but it's a very Air Force One, Jack Ryan type of movie.
Oh my God.
You're gonna be so mad when you figure it out.
Yeah, for sure.
A movie that like that
feels. Have you
like,
seen it?
Oh yeah, I love it. A movie that feels like it was born to play on like TNT every night.
I know I know what you're describing. Those
You know
movies,
what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
like just a movie that was made to just run on TNT forever. Oh man. God. Okay.
It's a small role.
Oh, it is. Yes, it is. She is barely in the movie.
No.
She plays like a nurse in the movie.
A nurse?
Yeah, she's barely in it.
Oh, that just sent me down the wrong path.
Don't think about her. Do not think about Harrison Ford. Think about Harrison Ford. He made this movie. It later had a sequel in which the co-lead of this movie was the lead. Do you want me to give you like a supporting actor?
Yeah, give me one.
Joe Pantoliano.
Harrison Ford and Joe Pantoliano?
Joey Pants.
Oh, wow. The Fugitive?
The Fugitive.
I would not have.
She's in that. She's like the doctor. He goes to like the hospital and she's like the doctor who like helps him.
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah, yeah.
When he's looking for the one-armed man.
God, I'm having so much fun. I'm so glad I picked Julianne Moore. You're having like, I'm just the clues are so fun to give. Okay.
I'm having the best time. I think about her so often.
Yes. Okay. But
Still Alice.
No, Still Alice did not make money. Won her an Oscar, but that is not the kind of movie that makes a top 5. Okay.
No.
Number 5, the last one. We're just going to end with this one because I had so much fun.
Yeah, thank God.
Okay, so number 5 is another sequel to another massive sensational hit from the 90s. She is replacing.
Got it.
Okay.
As soon as you said replacing.
Okay.
It's Hannibal.
It's Hannibal. Yeah.
Because that's that. At the time, that was insane. Like
a bad call. As much as I love Julianne Moore, just a bad idea.
Oh, I was going to say their mind was blown that Jodie Foster turned down the role.
Yeah,
because it made so much money.
But yeah, I mean, Jodie Foster's not interested in that kind of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She doesn't play that game. And I think recasting her was a bad call. I'm sure that they needed to make the fucking money or whatever. Like it made sense to make a sequel. But yeah,
I hate recasts. You know, it's just
it can work. Sometimes it can work. But
Mark Ruffalo over Edward
sure,
Norton.
that's a really good point. I mean,
Cheadle over Terrence Howard.
A huge upgrade.
Yep.
I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, what a bad idea to fucking try to recast that role of an Oscar-winning role, you know?
Definitely big shoes to fill. You know, that might have been one of the first things. There was a lot that sent me down. My dislike.
That might have been like number
but that
one.
Was a major
I gotta say, Brent, I understand. If that is your first exposure to Julianne Moore,
I think it honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, because
I can kind of understand that.
Okay. Ray Liotta's also in Hannibal. And
I haven't seen Hannibal in a long time. Kind of a trashy, fun little movie. Not very good, but
yeah, I remember Hannibal Lecter serves Ray Liotta his own brain.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Gross movie.
That was a visceral image for
not
a
great
kid in the 90s.
All right. Well, I think we've wrapped it up. I think we've done our due diligence. I have no idea.
Can I get number 6 now?
You want number 6?
Sure. Give me number 6.
Okay,
Rival.
Number 6, another sequel.
Oh, that was Amy Adams.
Yeah, no.
I confuse the ones I don't like.
Oh man, you're hurting me, Brent.
I'm hurting you.
God. Number 6 is another sequel. Not a very good movie. A sequel to kind of an exciting movie that she was not in the first entry. Came out within the last 6 years.
Forgotten.
Not even forgotten. Just sort of like everyone liked the first movie. It was really fun. It was.
Oh no, that was the name of the title. The Forgotten.
No, that's nothing.
Did you see that one?
Is that a movie? Is she in that? I don't know.
Yeah, she's in it. She's actually. This was her biggest push. She was a lead.
Oh, okay. Anyways, this movie is. She plays like the villain in it.
Oh, the Kingsman 2?
Kingsman: The Golden Circle.
The Golden Circle.
Yeah.
Wow, that was better later on.
Yeah, weird. I mean, those Hunger Games really tripped you up.
No, you shifted my mind into thinking about Harrison Ford.
She's in a lot of franchises. That's weird. I don't think of her as like an actress who would do franchises. She's in a lot of franchises.
No, yeah. Now she's got duration. She's spanning decades now. She's got that.
She got
some cheddar.
She's the best. Love her. Okay, well, any final thoughts before I punch you in the face for making that nasty face?
My face was only in response to your words.
My love of Julianne Moore, the Oscar-winning actress Julianne Moore.
Oh, there's the face again. No.
God.
No, I got nothing else. What are you want to talk about? What we got next time?
Yeah, we got Punch Drunk Love.
Oh yeah, baby.
Yeah. So we've talked about it before. I think that this is the last time that this is the last time that Paul Thomas Anderson makes a movie that isn't 1,000,000% his own voice, because this movie is sort of a riff on like Shortcuts or Nashville, like other movies that are just huge ensembles where it's like, oh, all these people come together. Like, this is the end of it. Every movie from here on out, only Paul Thomas Anderson could have made. And we're starting with Punch Drunk Love, a great movie. So we'll talk about it next week, and it'll be fun and we'll love it.
Something tells me I am going to, I might. I'm going to guess. I think I'm going to speak highly on it. So
you might, huh? You might have some good things to say about that movie. Can't wait. All right. Well, everyone, thanks for listening. You can find us on Instagram at Film School Dropouts Pod and on Twitter, film_school_pod. Very hard to say _school. And we're also on Facebook if you look us up. I don't know, rate us on iTunes, follow us on everything. Thanks for listening. My name is James.
I'm Brent.
And we will see you next week.